Hello, is anyone here? Is anyone here?
Good morning.
Ooh, we got an echo there. Hello, this is Sam Porter. Just to let you know that I'm here.
Hopefully. All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, August 31st. You're at the meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Arlisha Wilson. I'll be the chair of today's meeting, and we're going to get started with the reading of the preamble. Madam Secretary.
Good morning. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Liz Kukla. I'm going to read the preamble for you this morning, this August 31st, 2026. In compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We've provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak on a particular matter have been considered. We've also received emails from those who provided written comment on a particular matter. And Madam Chair, I'd like to read the order of the hearing and the rules of the hearing.
Okay.
The order of the hearing is as follows. First, the description of the case will be read into the record. Any person wishing to speak on a matter will be sworn in. The project team will present their proposal. The board members will have the opportunity to ask questions. Those in favor of the project will have the opportunity to speak. Those in opposition of the project will have the opportunity to speak. The secretary will read any written correspondence. City Planning Commission will give their recommendation. Council member, if present, will give comments. Project team may then respond to any comments made by other parties. Board members may ask additional questions or suggest conditions. A motion will be made and seconded, and the secretary will call the roll. The rules of the hearing are as follows. Number one, please speak clearly for the record. Our court reporter can only record one voice at a time. Number two, please do not speak unless recognized by the chair. Number three, all conversations must go through the chair. No back and forth conversations, please. Number four, hold your comments until the speaker is done speaking. Number five, at the request of the chair, comments may be limited to 2 minutes. If you have not done so, please silence your phones. And back to you, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you for that, Madam Secretary. As I make sure my phone is also on silent, I'll go ahead and read the procedures for conducting today's meeting. So as you all know, this is the Board of Zoning Appeals, and this is a lawful meeting. Under section 605.04 of the codified ordinances, no person with purpose to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public may provide public comment if required by law in accordance with our rules, and sometimes at the discretion of the chair. Disruptions include, but are not limited to, speaking out of turn and or making loud utterances that interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting may constitute a misdemeanor in violation of section 605.04. If this meeting is substantially disrupted, I will call for a recess and the room will be cleared. Persons who violate city ordinances and commit misdemeanors may be subject to prosecution. When this body is able to return from recess, then in compliance with the Ohio Open Meeting Act, if applicable, and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances, the meeting will be open to public. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and call the roll, please.
Thank you. Ms. Holzer?
Present.
Ms. Roca?
Present.
Ms. Faith?
Present.
Mr. Madison will be absent this morning, Madam Chair.
Okay.
And Ms. Wilson?
Present.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum with 4 members. So at this time, we could announce to the appellants that with 4 members, you run the risk of a tied vote. If there's a tied vote, the variance is denied. So at this time, you may request a postponement to a future date when we would have 5 members. At this point, we're looking probably 60 days for that.
All right. So with that being said, is there any appellant here who would wish to postpone their case until such time that we have 5 members present? If that is your desire, please raise your hand, whether you're in the room or online. Do we have any?
I'm not the one in case it's about, but there were, they had put a sign out in the yard of this property, but the sign is moved. So a lot of people don't even know about this here.
Which case are you referring to specifically?
Case number. Okay, 347.
Tell us the address of the property, or do you see something that says?
77, the Southwood Road.
Okay. And you said you're not the property owner?
No, I'm not the property owner, but I pay what's with the property.
Okay.
And a lot of people didn't know about this here
Okay.
because they put a sign out in the yard, you know, they really don't know that, you know, sign moved.
Okay. So we usually, okay. Any word on that, Madam Secretary?
Madam Chair, our records show that we sent out 15 notices and the letter was dated August 19th.
Okay.
So, and could you tell me your name? Dimitri, and your last name? I could check to see if his name is on the list, Madam Chair, if you give me a minute.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll circle back to that case once we call that on the agenda. Is there any other appellant who would wish to postpone their matter due to the fact that we only have 4 board members present today? All right. Hearing none, do we have any postponements or withdrawals?
No, ma'am.
All right, so I'll call the first case that is on the agenda, and that will be calendar number 26-098. Samuel Portis, do we have you here with us today?
Yeah,
Sam.
yeah, I'm here on the phone.
Okay, all right, very good. We'll go ahead and read your case into the record, Ms. Holzer.
Our first case is calendar number 26-098. This is at 3804 East 123rd Street. Samuel Portis, owner, proposed this to establish use as a 3-family dwelling in a 1-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 4. And with that, I will hand it to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, state your name, spell your name, and give your address. We'll go to you on the call first.
Oh, Samuel Portis, address is 3804. Go ahead.
Can you spell your name for us, please?
Samuel, last name Portis.
And then go ahead with your address.
3804 East 123rd Street, Cleveland, Ohio 44105.
Thank you. And do you swear?
I do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the call who wishes to speak in this matter? Is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak in this matter? I am not seeing any hands raised. Madam Chair, back to you.
All right, thank you for that. We'll go to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1923, a permit was issued to erect a 2-story dwelling. 1949, a permit was issued to establish rooms and a bathroom on the 3rd floor. 1957, there were permits to demolish and replace a garage. And there are no variances on file. And in the more recent history in our Acela system, we see that in 2010, a violation was issued to condemn the main structure. In 2011, violations were issued to condemn the garage. And there was a permit issued to board up a front door on the property. And then we see in 2012, there were various electrical and plumbing and HVAC permits issued. And then also in 2012, a maybe it's a blanket permit that they consider this, but it was to correct violations on the property. That was in 2012. And then in 2014, we see that there were permits to board up windows and doors on the property again. And then 2025, there were permits for electrical, HVAC, plumbing, and et cetera to repair the condemnation. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, can we have legal, please?
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance and area variances from the maximum gross floor area, minimum lot area, and minimum interior side yard requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you for that. Mr. Portis, you have the floor. Can you tell us about your variance requests, please?
Well, the property's being used as a three-family from what I can tell for the last at least 20 years. And I'm just trying to get this on the books that it's a legal three-family. You know, the third floor is completely finished, 2 bedrooms, a bath, living room, kitchen, and under the condemnation, we actually thought it was a three-family. We wasn't aware that it was. So we just want to, get it on the record that the proper use that the building's been used at, as far as we know it.
Okay, and can you explain how the metering for the utilities are set up in the home?
It's 3 meters. It's one for first, second for the gas and the electric. It's been that. I talked to the gas company and it said it's been that way for some time. And when we had the gas company come back out, they put 3 meters in.
Okay, and can you explain the setup for the third unit? How many rooms are in the third unit?
You got 2 bedrooms, a living room area, kitchen area, and a bathroom.
Okay, and can you also explain the ingress and egress for each of the units? Do they all have their separate entrances and exit routes?
The first floor and the second floor has 2 entrances. The third floor has 1 entrance, and you have to come down to exit out of the second floor.
Okay. Any board members have questions?
Madam Chair, to the appellant, Mr. Portis, are the units currently rented?
No, it's been condemned. We're trying to get everything set so we can put it back together.
Got it. And how long have you owned the property?
Oh, I think this is 2nd year.
Okay, and
I have to go back and
you purchased it under the pretense or assumption that it was a 3-unit building?
Yeah, yeah. So if you look at it, it was already set up as a 3, and it has 3 meters for both electrical and gas.
And then my last question is, are you intending to rent out the property as short-term or long-term rentals?
Long term.
Thank you.
Any other board members have questions?
Madam Chair, when Ms. Kukla was reading the history of the property, she indicated a year that rooms and a bath were added to the third floor. Could she remind us again what year that was?
Sure, Madam Chair, that was 1949.
Great, thank you. So I think there's a history that the third floor has been used for housing, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, especially given the testimony that we're hearing. Any other questions from the board? All right, any comments from the city?
Good morning. My name is Xavier Bay, standing in for our zoning administrator this morning. But we do have support from the city. Neighborhood planner Kenya Gray mentioned there's no opposition here, and we're generally supportive of these kinds of conversions as it allows for more mixed income opportunities for housing. Thank you.
Okay. All right, if there are no other questions from the board, I will entertain a motion, please.
Madam Chair, the only comment I would have before I go to motion is that obviously this will be reviewed by fire and that an emergency egress will probably need to be added to the third floor in addition to that stairwell that access it. So if as he goes through the process of getting permits, I'm sure that that'll be covered for him. And with that, I move approval of calendar number 26-098.
All right, thank you, Ms. Faith. Do we have a second?
Board Member Roca, I second.
Thank you, Ms. Roca. Can we call the vote?
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Roca? Ms.
Yes.
Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Calendar number 26-098 is granted. This will be ratified when we meet again, which is on September 14th, I believe, as we are not meeting next week. And once this is ratified, we will send the appellant a letter. They can contact us that Wednesday, September 16th for further instruction.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're quite welcome. Good luck with your project. We'll next call calendar number 26-099. Do we have Crystal King present or someone on her behalf? All right, please come forward to the table, and anyone else who wishes to speak in this matter, you may come forward as well. And while you do that, we'll have Ms. Holzer read in the case.
Our next case is calendar number 26-099. This is at 13518 Miles Avenue. Crystal King, owner, proposes to establish use as an event center in a C1 semi-industry district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 3. And with that, I will hand it to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, state your name, spell your name, and give your address. You want to turn on your microphone, please? Thank you.
I do. Crystal King, 13518-13520 Miles Ave, Cleveland, Ohio, 44105.
Can you spell your name for our court reporter, please?
Crystal, last name King, King.
Thank you very much. And sir, are you wishing to speak in this matter?
Yes, I'm Councilmember Joe Jones.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
I think you still have to swear in, and can you touch
Yes.
that mic for us? Thanks.
Thank you.
Shoot. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, state your name, spell your name, and give your address.
Yes, I do. Joseph Jones, 4691 East 177th Street, Cleveland, Ohio, representing the Lee Harvard Ward 1 neighborhood as the councilperson in the southeast side of the city of Cleveland.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in this matter in the room? Is there anyone on the call who wishes to speak in this matter? Back to you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you for that. We'll go to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This property was originally located in semi-industry and general industry in 1929. But then in 1945, it was changed fully to the semi-industry district. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1947, a permit was issued to erect a storage and store building. 1952, a permit was issued to erect a brick storage addition. 1953, a permit was issued to erect a second floor addition and a second family. There were interior alterations in 1960 to add a cocktail lounge and bar. And then let's see. 19, think I've read most of those. 1965, a canopy was erected on private property. Neon signage was added. 1960 also, there was a restaurant addition to the property. I might also add, Madam Chair, that this is for a range of addresses. It's 13518 through 13520. In 1960, there were also alterations to remodel a storefront on the property. 1966, a permit was issued to repair fire damage to a tavern and a dwelling on site. There are no variants. There is one variance on file, I apologize, in calendar number 92-253 in October of 1992. This board overturned a denial of a dance hall license and granted the dance hall license due to not enough evidence regarding police activity. So this was allowed to be a dance hall in 1992. That's the only variance we have on that address. And then in the more recent history, I see there was violations to correct in April of this year to repair two retail units and one dwelling. And then in March of this year, also signage was erected on the property. And I think that's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, can we have legal, please?
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting an area variance from the minimum distance requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning.
All right, thank you for that. Ms. King, you have the floor. Can you tell us about your request?
Yes, again, I am here for the K Royal. I am here again for K Royal and the property located on Miles. I understand and respect Cleveland's purpose in protecting residential areas, including the 500-foot rule. I am not asking the board to disregard the purpose. I'm asking you to consider the unique circumstances to the property and recognize that the purpose of the regulation can still be satisfied here. The property is in a commercial and industrial area. I'm sandwiched in between an auto body shop and a junkyard. And then on the south side, I'm separated from the residential areas with the railroad tracks. And I'm just asking for the variance and consideration that this is a special circumstance and we are not directly located next to a residential property.
Okay, can you give us a little context about what it is that you are intending to do here at this property?
We are trying to convert this building into a event space where people can gather in a safe and beautiful place. We're removing blight from the neighborhood. People can have their repasses, their baby showers, their weddings here. We feel that it is creating economic development. We're creating jobs for maintenance, building maintenance, construction. The building was once condemned and we have, if you look at the picture, see that we have restored that and we're just asking for the permission to complete the parking lot and allow the event center to be there.
Okay, any questions from the board based on that?
Yes, Madam Chair, if you could speak to the details of the parking lot, how many spaces and any screening that you're going to do with the parking lot?
We're building the parking lot out to code. They do require we add sewers to the parking lot. So that is also removing blight, right? Because it's just a vacant lot, the dirt and the old fence. So we're going to upgrade all of those things. It will be 20 spaces in the parking lot. Economic development did give us funds to get a blueprint, which was submitted to make sure that the parking lot is to code. Again, 20 spaces. It was required. One of our variances that we already comply with and repaired, had the architect go back in, add the bike space there, and as well as the shrubbery for our landscaping.
Okay, so let me just make sure I heard you correctly. You are then adding the landscaping, the shrubbery to the parking lot and the bicycle parking space?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because those are two of the variances that you need today.
We already completed it and we submitted the new blueprint with that.
So you did already submit your new plans?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you submit those to?
Madam Chair, we do have copies.
To the office.
It may or may not have made it into the PowerPoint. I apologize. Yes, we do have.
Okay.
Okay, so do those plans show then the frontage strip?
That's correct. This is Xavier Bay standing in for the zoning administrator. That's right. Our staff has worked with the applicants and they were able to remove those, number 2 and 3 items you see on the agenda there regarding the frontage landscaping strip as well as the number of required parking spaces. The only item standing is number 1, stating the, separation, requirement of 500 feet.
Okay, thank you for confirming that, Mr. Bay. Continue with your questions, please.
Thank you. One more. Have you been in communication with your neighbors or the residents or the rest of the community about your project, and what is the feedback that you've received?
We've received great feedback there. They love what we did with the building, and they see the turnaround, and they're happy to have it there from the conversations that I've had.
Thank you. Madam Chair, that's all I have.
All right, any other board members have questions? All right, hearing none. Councilman, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. This particular building has been in our neighborhood, of course, you read the history here for quite some time. And when I met Ms. King, she wanted to get this property out of demo. It was in demolition. And I was skeptical about what she would do there, did she have the resources? All those was questions in my mind. And, God was like, go ahead, don't let her see what she's going to do with it. And I'm proud and honored to see what Mrs. King has done with that particular property. I went into that property, saw it in its condemned state, saw how bad it was. And when I looked at it, I said, it's very little she's going to be able to do with this property. This property technically should be torn down. Collapsing in the back part of the property. The property was just a absolute complete horror show. And for her to go in there, I went to a grand opening here about several weeks ago, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was just absolutely could not keep my mouth closed with what she had done with that facility, and was totally super impressed by her going through the processes, doing everything that she needs to do. And then the last one, when we were there, she talked about this variance and showed me the parking space back there. And like she stated earlier, it's wedged against ugliness. I mean, so she's really got to do a lot of work to try to hopefully maybe purchase other parts and pieces, so that her guests will, hopefully drown out some of the ugly stuff that's around her. And I will say that unfortunately for her, some of these properties, technically speaking, they're not even zoned to even be there. So I don't even know how some of the properties along Miles Avenue ever was turned into junkyards, because they're zoned for something totally different. And so but to see her take this, go through the process and do this, I'm 110% for the variance. When it comes to the community loves any kind of improvements and improvements that uplift the property and the values. She's done that. She's demonstrated that. She's been straightforward. That she can buy some more of these buildings that are condemned like this in our neighborhood and turn them into a diamond, as she's done with this one in the rough.
All right, thank you for that, Councilman. Any comments from the city planner?
Good morning. My name is Xavier Bay, standing in for our zoning administrator. We do have support from the neighborhood planner, Kenya Gray. As was mentioned, our staff has worked with the applicants to reduce the amount of variances required. I'll also mention again that situationally, this parcel is actually closest to a residence district to the south that's actually separated by a large railway. The other closest residential zoning district is actually behind a commercial property to the north. So we don't believe that there's any spacing, interferences that would, conclude in negatively impacting the residential neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And then one question to you, Ms. King. If the variance is not granted today, can you describe what difficulty you may face.
Well, I've poured into this project for 4 years, uncondemning it. I have my resources poured into that. It's no funds to own the building. There's no move and going somewhere else. So the building will become blight again. It will sit there and no business or no employment will be gained from the restoration.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any correspondence, Madam Secretary?
We do, Madam Chair. We have a letter from Newpoint Community Development Corporation. They write that Newport has worked with Ms. King throughout the efforts to redevelop this longstanding vacant commercial property as part of ongoing economic development initiatives within the Union Miles neighborhood. It is a welcome site. We have had the opportunity to observe her commitment to investing in the property and improving the commercial corridor and creating a business that will provide positive community asset. The proposed event center represents the productive reuse of an underutilized commercial building that has remained vacant for an extended period. Rather than allowing the property to continue to deteriorate, this investment will return it to active use, generate economic activity, improve the appearance of the corridor, and provide a venue for community meetings, celebration, networking events, and so on. While we understand the purpose of the city's zoning regulations, we believe this property represents a unique circumstances. The site is located within an established commercial industrial area adjacent to automotive and industrial uses with an active railroad corridor separating the property from nearby residential neighborhoods. These existing conditions create a physical buffer that distinguishes this location from many other properties where the intent of the separation requirement would typically apply. We also appreciate Ms. King's willingness to work collaboratively with the city by incorporating the required landscape improvements, screening, bicycle parking, and any additional site enhancements necessary to ensure the project is developed responsibly and in a manner that is compatible with the surrounding area. Newport Community Development Corporation believes this project is consistent with our mission of promoting neighborhood revitalization, encouraging private investment, supporting small business growth, and returning vacant commercial properties to productive use. We respectfully ask the board to give favorable consideration to this variance request so this important redevelopment may move forward. Sincerely, Roshan Sample Barrett, Executive Director of Newpoint Community Development Corporation. And then I also have a letter from the council supporting it. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, just two questions that I neglected to ask earlier. What are your hours of operation and what days of the week will you be open?
Well, we're open for 7 days a week. It's per book, like it's for private events. So we want to accommodate our residents and our community and whatever they need, but we want to be closed by midnight for the majority.
Midnight, just 7 days a week?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, based on the testimony we've heard today, I move that we approve calendar number 26-099.
All right, thank you for that, Ms. Roca. Do we have a second?
Board Member Holzer, I second.
All right, can we call the vote, please?
Madam Chair, for the record, what were the opening hours? I missed that. I heard the closing hour, but I didn't hear when they would open, really.
Well,
Opening hours.
maybe 8 or 9.
8 or 9.
That's-
So 8 or 9 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week.
Yes, but again, it's per event. It's not that we're just like open for business. It's a private, someone has to rent the space for it to be open. And it's usually 6-hour windows.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Calendar number 26-099 is granted. This will be ratified when we meet again on September 14th. We will send you a letter, but you can also contact us on September 16th for further instructions.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you all.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with your project. You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you all.
All right, we're next going to call calendar number 26-100. Do we have Carl and Galna Jones present or anyone on their behalf? All right, I can see that you're present. You'll come forward to the table, and while you do that, Ms. Holzer will read in the case.
Our next case is calendar number 26-100. This is at 1777 Catalpa Road. Carl and Galena Jones, owners, propose to establish use as a three-family residence in a two-family residential district. The owners appeal for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are two with some notes. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, state your name, spell your name, and give your address, and you'll want to turn on your microphone. You can press that button right there. There you go. Go ahead.
Carl Jones. What was it you wanted?
You have to spell your name as well. So Carl Jones, if you could spell that.
Karljones.
And do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
And then what is your address?
My address is 496 East 321st Street, Willowick, Ohio, 44095.
Yep. She can't hear you that well. She's recording everything you say. So as you're speaking, I need you to speak a little bit louder so that your voice can reach over to that part of the room.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just repeat your address for us.
496 East 321st Street, Willowick, Ohio, 44095.
44095.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And then go ahead.
Ariel Washington, Ariel Washington, 601 Lakeside Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44144, neighborhood planner. I do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room? You all wish to speak in this matter? Okay, you can pull your chairs up a little bit because we will have you share the microphone.
Do you wish to speak in this matter as well? We'll have you come forward too, please. You can just pull up a chair.
All right, we'll have you raise your hand, state your name, spell your name, give your address, and let us know that you swear.
My name is Tanya Stevens, and it's TAWNIA. Stevens is STEPHENS, and I affirm to tell the truth in this matter. My address is 1768 Catalpa Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44112.
Thank you very much. And sir, go ahead.
My name is Craig Stevens, STEPHENS, Craig, CRAIG. I also live at 1768 Catalpa Road, Cleveland, Ohio. I affirm to tell the truth.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And sir, we'll have you turn on that mic, please.
Press the button so that it turns green. There you go.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Demetrius Muhammad. My address is 1771 Catalpa Road.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
And can you spell your first and last name, please?
DEMETIOUS MUHAMMAD.
Thank you. And is there anyone on the call who wishes to speak in this matter? I am not seeing anyone, Madam Chair, so back to you.
All right, thank you for that. Can we have history of the property, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. We didn't find much on this property in our Records Administration Office, only that in 1977, a permit was issued to demolish a private garage and erect a private garage. And that was in 1977. And then in the more recent history, we see that a certificate of disclosure was issued in 2018, stating that the authorized use of the property is as a two-family dwelling. There's a rental registration in 2020 and 2022, 2024, and 2025. And there was a lead safe certificate applied for in 2024. It says that it's inactive at this time. And a certificate of disclosure was issued in December of last year, stating again that the authorized use of the property is as two-family. There are no variances on file for this address either. Thank you.
All right, can we have legal, please?
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance from the requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. Under section 337.03C, Board of Zoning Appeals, upon prescribing proper safeguards to preserve the character of the neighborhood, may grant special, let's see, I need to make this bigger. May grant, I'm not sure how to make it bigger. May grant special permits for the remodeling of existing dwelling homes or the erection of row houses to provide for more than 2 dwelling units, provided that, number one, the square feet of lot area to be allotted to each dwelling unit is in accordance with the area regulations included in Chapter 355. Number two, the dwelling units to be created will not be smaller than 2 rooms and a bathroom. Number three, there will be no exterior evidence that a remodeled dwelling house is occupied by more than 2 families, except as such may be permitted by the board. Number four, the building, when altered or erected and when occupied, will conform to all the applicable provisions of the building and housing codes, and as the Commissioner of Building and the Commissioner of Housing so certify. And number five, garage space or hard surfaced and drained parking space will be provided upon the premises for cars of the families to be accommodated on the premises at the rate of not less than 1 car per family.
All right, thank you for that. I will now give you the floor. Mr. Jones, can you tell us about your request?
Yes, I want to convert it from a 2-family to a 3-family. You want, 1 car for each unit, which I have. I have no intention of changing the exterior of the building. It has ingress and ingress from the first building and the second building and the third building. I would be converting the 3rd floor into a 1-bedroom, living room, kitchen, family.
Say that again. I'm sorry. It's hard to hear.
I'm sorry.
So this microphone that you have, it helps the people online hear you. It doesn't affect the people in the room. So we got to make sure your voice carries way over there. So if you could just
Oh,
make
that's
sure.
not an echo.
No, the microphone is just for the people online. I know, it's a little.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You were on the 3rd floor. Can you say that?
Oh, on the 3rd floor, I was going to convert it from nothing to a 1-bedroom, living room, kitchen, bathroom area. The 3rd floor has ingress and egress. So, it has everything that's necessary. We're not changing the exterior, so nobody will even know it's changed. And then for parking, it's got parking for each stall, which would be 3 stalls. They're already existing. I don't want to, I don't want to change the looks of anything. I simply want to improve what's already existing.
Okay, can you tell us about the parking? Is it a garage?
Well, it has a 2-car garage for 2, but then it also has a parking slab next to it.
Okay, and how many cars fit on the parking slab?
1 on the parking slab and 2 in the garage.
Okay, is the parking slab drained?
Is it what?
Is it drained?
Yes.
Okay. And does the board have any other questions regarding this? All right,
Madam
here in the,
Chair- Madam Chair, I did have a question.
go right ahead.
Thanks. In reviewing the plans, my concern with that parking pad was that it might be within the 10 feet distance from the building and any openings. Could the appellant speak to that for us?
That's a question for you. Can you tell us how far that parking slab is from the openings of the building?
Don't know the answer.
Just approximate.
Well, it has it would be approximately 10, maybe 12 feet from the building itself.
Okay, Ms. Faith, is that it?
The building has a porch that takes up about 6 feet. Then it also has, almost 20-foot space between there and the backyard.
Okay.
So,
Does that answer your question, Ms. Faith?
I think that satisfies the concern.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
All right, does that conclude your comments?
yeah.
All right, very good. We'll next go to, do you want me to get comments from the others or would you like to go next? That's a question for you, Ms. Washington.
Apologies, I just came to support the project.
Okay.
There's a lot of need of additional housing in the area, as long as the applicant can make sure that no additional parking will cause a disturbance to other neighbors on the street. Making sure that, everything is set in place, your egress separately metered, things like that. That building and housing will require of you. That's all.
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. Washington. That actually brings up a question I think I forgot to ask you. How is how are the utilities metered on this property?
How do I what?
How are the utilities metered on the property?
At the moment, it's metered for 2 units.
Okay, and do you have a plan to separate that out and make it metered for 3 units?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yes, I'm going to have it rewired electrically for the 3rd unit.
okay. All right, thank you for that.
Madam Chair, can I ask one question as well?
Please.
I see the 2 egress points for 2 of the units. Where is the 3rd ingress and egress access for the 3rd floor unit? Is it in the back of the house?
Okay. I showed you, I
Let's
think.
make sure you're speaking loudly, please.
Yes. In the rear, where the proposed rear is, it's the bedroom area. Okay.
So,
And in the bedroom area, there's a window that's an egress window just for that area.
okay.
It already exists.
Okay, so there's no door to get to the 3rd floor, like no door and stairs to get to the 3rd floor?
There's not a door not stairwell, no.
Okay, so how does one get to the 3rd floor unit? How does that person get in and out of their apartment?
Through the side where everybody else goes, I guess.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
It looks like there's a separate stairwell.
Yes, it's a separate stairwell on the side of the building.
But just not a second stairwell to exit. So I think, was that your question?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering how they got in and out of,
Yeah.
so they have to come in one of the 2 front doors.
No, they don't go in the front door. They go in the side door.
Oh, the side door, I'm sorry. Okay, I got you.
All right. Does that conclude your question?
Does.
All right. Any other questions from the board? All right. Hearing no questions, I will give the floor now to Ms. Tanya Stevens.
Good morning, everyone. The congestion on the street is bad. The absentee landlord is bad on the street. My house is a single family house. And weekend, you cannot park on the street at all because it's, again, the parking is just bad. And I've never seen this gentleman before. I can't tell you if he's ever been around. I don't know, but I've been on the street 31 years. We purchased our house in 1995. And I live next to a two-door family who has 3 families living in the house. And it's just bad. It's bad.
What do you mean when you say bad?
The police have been on the street numerous of times. The congestion for the parking, there's nowhere for anyone to park on the street. So when the people who live in the 2-family houses park on the street, the people who own their homes and live on the street can't even have company or anything because there's nowhere to park. And the street is a dead end street, and it's a very long street. It is quiet on the street, but there's just nowhere to park. And again, the absentee landlord problem is a problem for those who live on the street.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll now give you the floor. Mr. Craig, do you want to add comments?
2 things. Just to add to what my wife indicated, Ms. Tanya, the homes are being rented to halfway, people coming out of halfway homes, and so the character of the residents has gone down. Now, that's one thing. The area is zoned 2-family for a reason, and it's being quietly turned into 3 families. And I give Mr. Jones credit for coming through the zoning board, which is what's needed, but most of the owners of 2-family homes are not doing that. And so most of the residents on the street that I've spoken to before this came up are highly against changing the zoning to 3-family homes. As you heard today, he's going to change the electrical, and I'm in the construction architectural industry myself, which is electrical is not that difficult, but you have to change the gas and you need to change the water as well if you're going to separate the units into 3 separate units. Most exiting codes require 2 ways out. I, as an official or anything that in the industry, would not be comfortable with someone exiting through a window from the 3rd floor. I do understand the stair tower. It is entered from the side door, and it runs most of the time all the way up through most homes, and you don't have to go into the other residential areas to get down to the outside. But normally you need 2 ways out. That's why the 1st, 2nd floor, you have 2 ways out of an entrance and a back entrance. But on this one, you only have 1. So that would be my concern with that. The character of the neighborhood, which is part of the zoning code that you all put up that I read, is being affected greatly. And so for that matter, I would say to the zoning appeals board that you have to be careful with doing this. because most of the residents are starting to be very uncomfortable, and they're going to be looking to, quite possibly move away, because it's a mixture of mostly single family homes. There are some 2-story duplex up and down, or even side by side on the street, but it's becoming very, very uncomfortable with having 3 families in one home, and then the type of residents that are coming in. Most of the people that are buying these homes are not moving in them.
That's right.
They're not moving their families in them, and they're not living in areas where they would accept this type of situation. And so our street is against it. And if need be, we can get petitions signed or whatever else. But I've spoken to a number of the residents, and they are totally against turning our street into a 3-family dwelling district.
So can you help the board understand how the character of the neighborhood would be impacted if this one home was granted a variance to operate it as a 3-family?
Well, outside of building codes, you can contact the, is it the 5th district or the 6th district? 5th district. They have been called to the street for the home that's next door to us. That's a 2-family unit where there's 3 families living in it, just about once or twice every week, for disturbance of the peace, domestic violence, a lot of different things going on when you have 3 families, and the families are arguing about parking spaces. I can't get through because in order to get to a parking space in the back, the driveway lane has to be cleared, and they're blocking the driveways, parking on the grass, motorcycles on parking on the right of way, the sidewalks. These are disturbances. And like I said, you can contact the 5th district, but the police are being called so many times that it's really, really out of hand. And again, I'm not against, I think Mr. Jones is, and I don't know him. I understand the need to rent, but I understand this for income as well, because you can rent for 2 families and be satisfied. 3 families just gives you more income, but it's becoming a very, very bad scenario for homes that are in a 2-family dwelling situation. And we're starting to trend. If we start changing this to let 3 families in, we have to look at what this is doing to neighborhoods. And you don't see this. You see this mostly in the inner city. You don't see this out in the burbs. You just don't see this type of activity allowed by zoning appeal boards or the governing bodies of these areas. And I think it's gonna be tragic. It's not there yet, but it's starting to grow.
All right, thank you for that. Mr. Muhammad, I'll give you the floor.
Well, I'm next door to the house. So, you have investors coming in, and, they don't care nothing about the well-being of the neighbors in the neighborhood, and they just want to rent the place out to make money. Now, it's a 2-family house already, so I'm pretty sure, and I'm not into his business, but he can make a substantial amount of money to take care of the property and make money for himself. Now, in the past, and I talk with him, and I have, because I always talk with the landlord to let them know what's going on. And we watch these houses. Now, the neighbors that's surrounding him, we watch everybody's house. So there's nothing that don't go bad that we don't know about. But the thing is that I had told him at one point in time that there were tenants in that house, and most of the time the tenants don't get along. And there were shootings. Now keep in mind, my daughter was in her bedroom, and there was always fight shootings. Like he said, cops always, coming down the street. We had cameras put up on the street, and I don't know what type of job that's doing, because a lot of times we had the cameras put on the street so that if something went down, they can, have a review of it. But there's been times because of that scenario, trying to cram people in a small place, that you're going to have problems. And we don't want those type of problems because, like you said, the street was quiet, but it's changing because people are coming in. You got these landlords coming in, renting these places out and not screening these people. And I'm not saying that you can always screen somebody and you're going to get what you're looking for. But the thing is that we're looking out for our safety and we're looking out for the well-being of the street because we have to live there. Most people don't have money to move away and move out to other places, but a lot of people are doing that because they just can't, deal with that, type of situation anymore. So it concerns me because I'm right next door. And I talked with him and I told him, there's nothing that's going to get by, concerning your house that I don't know about, and I won't tell you about it. But the thing is that, a lot of times you have confrontations with your neighbors and stuff. And the way the world is today, you got a lot of shooting, killings, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be bothered with that because, like he said, you wouldn't allow this and tolerate this in your neighborhood. So why come into our neighborhood and have this kind of a commotion going on? So we want to live in peace. You understand? We want to live in peace and we don't want, when we come home to our properties, we don't want no distractions. You have to come home to a bunch of chaos. You know what I'm saying? And it's getting to be like that now. To where when I moved on the street, it's probably been about maybe 12 years ago. It was very quiet. It was peaceful. And I was proud to even stay on the street because of that matter. But it's getting out of hand, like you said, all the time. The cops are being called. I mean, people racing up and down the streets, that don't even live on the street. And most of the people on that street, they take pride in their home and where they live at. So I'm not saying that, what he's doing is right or wrong, but there's a cause and effect for everything that you do, and we don't want to go through all that. We want peace. I'm an investor too, so I wouldn't even I go and clean up the street. If there's trash on the ground, I clean it up because no one wants to live in a rat hole. And that's wherever I am. And you got, people just throwing trash out, you know what I'm saying? Coming in, you got people visiting these people and they don't care nothing about the street or the neighborhood and causing all kind of problems. And we don't want to live around that. I want to live in peace. I don't plan on going anywhere, but I want to live in peace. I want the street to be like when I first moved on that street. And making changes, you can't even see or prognosticate, the future of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's the fact is that it's not within zoning code, so why change things? You understand what I'm saying? Why change things? Just keep it the way it is. We live there, keep the community a nice community. We don't want those type of problems. We want to live in peace and live in a nice neighborhood like everybody else do. So I'm totally against it because, I have seen the outcome, of what can happen. And my house was almost involved in that, that shooting. So my daughter is even afraid to sleep in her room because of that. So I'm not saying that will happen, but it can happen when you're written to people that you don't know, and then you're cramming people in one household, and these people aren't getting along. You see what I'm saying? So yes, I'm totally against this. I welcome him and what he's trying to do, but let's just keep it like it is.
Okay.
So that's all I have to say.
Okay, so then that raises a question that I would like to ask to you, Ms. Washington. It sounds like the neighbors are expressing a concern that this will no longer, having this as a three-family will no longer be in keeping with the intent and the purpose of the zoning code. Can you express any opinion one way or the other regarding the impact of changing this particular property to three families?
There's not one way or the other that I'm for. I understand that the zoning code, the Euclidean code, our current code is what it is. However, we have the board and variances available for people to step out of that. I understand the neighbor's concern, and that's now a concern of mine. However, when houses are equipped to be said, change from a two-family to a three-family, the parking is there. That's my reason for coming to support it. But if the committee supports the neighbors, I'm for that because we don't want the neighbors dissatisfied. I'm unsure of the councilman's siding on this as well. However, there is an issue of we need housing. That has been the tone of the Northeast as of late, needing more housing, and some people come to make that available. Everything is an unknown of how an owner will present themselves to us today and how they will present themselves once we move out of this meeting and it's a year later and tenants are in there and they are removed. Those are unknowns for all of us. So I will side with the board with whatever you decide and the residents that are here today.
I guess we're asking for sort of an opinion or, thoughts about how this neighborhood would be impacted if, in fact, a three-family home was legally placed down. Do you believe that there will be a detrimental impact to the neighborhood in terms of, how it was intended? Because clearly it's not intended as a three-family. What's your opinion on that?
It's not intended as a three-family. However, there's a lot, whether legally or not legally, three families around. It will make an issue for residents and their parking, their visitors, and that was one of my first comments coming up to make sure that the applicant will hold the reins on his property, his tenant, and their visitors and the rules that are set into place. He has space on his property. If that's regulated, however you see fit to make sure that people follow your rules so it does not impede on the neighbors and cause more chaos for this street.
Okay, understood. Any correspondence, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Madam Chair, we did receive from the applicant late last week, Cuyahoga County sheets showing that there are 6 other three-family structures or three-family identified uses on the street. Not sure if that made it into your packet that was delivered on SharePoint, but it is on the screen if you wanted Ms. Jones to flip through them. But there are, we did receive 6 different addresses. And while you're looking at that, I will also read that the councilman submitted a letter of objection. Councilman Polensek writes, as councilman representing Cleveland's 10th Ward, I'm sending this letter to officially notify the board that I do not support the granting of a variance at this address. On behalf of Ward 10, I do not support the granting of this variance. First, it creates a dense population situation without the availability of additional resources needed to accommodate the extra family in a home not originally built to house 3 separate families. Second, too often I find that we receive these requests coming from out-of-town landlords who do not understand the dynamics of the neighborhood and why these 2-family residential districts are there in the first place. In addition, all too often, these homes are seen as possible income opportunities only without consideration of the neighbors already living in the community. Therefore, again, he does not support this. And if we have any questions, we can contact him. Michael D. Polensek, Councilman Ward 8.
All right, thank you for that. Any questions from the board?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a few questions. First, to the appellant, if you could describe for the board what hardship you will face if these variances are not granted today?
What hardships will I face?
Yes, what hardship will you face if your variances are not granted today?
Well, for one thing, I need to do a lot of repair on the building itself.
Speak
Okay.
up a little bit, just for her.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I need to repair the building.
Okay,
Okay, in order to repair the building, I have to invest quite a bit of money. All right. In order to even do that, I have to have a rent that will carry the mortgage. So what I'm saying is, I want to improve the property. I want to make it, nicer than it is in general for the whole street. But if you can't raise the rents, you can't repair anything. And right now, a lot of the properties are not being repaired. They're going, they're in shambles. What I'm trying to do is totally renovate and repair the building so that it is nicer, or at least as nice as the best building that's sitting here. All right. I know a lot of the rents in the area right there are around $500-600 a month. All right. I'm not even looking for people like that. All right. I've already have a tenant. I'm at the moment I'm repainting everything on the first floor. Okay. And I already have a tenant ready to come in here now. She's gonna be paying me $1,100 a month, which will increase my rent, but it also allows me to redo the floors, to redo the electrical, to redo plumbing. Okay. If you want to improve things, you have to have the funds to do it. You can't keep everything the same and expect it to stay nice. It has to be worked on. It has to be improved. Okay? And
so what you're describing is an economic hardship. You're telling the board that you would face an economic hardship if this building remains a 2-family and is not a 3-family. Is that?
yes, it is.
Okay. And I want to also ask you about kind of what the neighbors have said and give you a chance to respond. Do you know approximately how many houses are on the street, give or take? Do you have?
How many houses?
Yeah, like just approximately. Is it 20 houses, 70 houses?
Oh, gee. I never really counted. I have no idea. I know it's a one street, dead end. I also know that a lot of them on the end of the dead end street are very close to being demolished because they're not being kept up. And in order to keep up those properties, they're going to have to improve them. In order to improve them, they're going to have more rents. To have more rents, they're going to have to be able to, they're going to have to be able to do it. I mean, it's.
Yeah. So the Other neighbors have expressed concerns with the amount of three-family properties on the street. We have evidence here that there are already 6.
Oh, yes, there's 6 of them that I found myself.
And you would be the 7th.
I
So
would
what
be
I'm
the
getting
7th.
at is here, trying to figure out how many, is it becoming a 3-family district with this many?
Well, what I also know is there are other 2-family ones that are, they're illegal, okay? As 3-family. And they're doing that because they can't raise rents, so they want to be slumlords. I don't.
And then I want to give you an opportunity to respond to any of the things that you've heard today from your neighbors. How would you remedy some of the issues that they are expressing today?
Well, I've already got parking for every car. So I'm really not, I'm not worried about the street parking. I mean, I can't do anything about that. All I can do is have a space for every tenant. Okay. There, he was talking about, working on the building. Yeah, I'm going to rewire the building. I'm not going to put in gas. It's going to be all electric. I like to use the tankless hot waters and things of this nature because it improves, it improves the building. They cost a little more, but they're better for the people. They have instant hot water, unlimited. The heat is going to be electric. And the way the thing is, I have to totally insulate those buildings that I'm doing. So.
And in terms of any safety or security concerns, how will you address those if that arises?
Well, at this moment, what I'm doing is I have to put in, this is just for code that I know of. We have to put in all hardwire smoke detectors and carbon monoxide, things of this nature. I'm not sure.
By safety and security, I'm referring to if there are any disturbances with your tenants. Are you available? And let's say the neighbors have complaints. How will you address that?
I have a manager that handles my rentals for me, but I'm there all myself. I'm here all the time. I've been to this house at least once a week for the last 3 months. Okay. I just bought some new windows for it. I install them myself. I bought them from,
That's all I
local
have,
people.
Madam Chair.
When you purchased this property, were you aware of how it was zoned?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And why not stick to what you purchased?
Why?
Mhm.
Because I wanted to improve the property. I could leave it like it was. The rents were $600 a month. People that can afford the $600 a month are not going to be your best tenants. Okay? I have found that people that don't pay for the rent, the price for the rent, are always people that cause problems. So what I like to do is improve the properties, increase the rents. I have never had a person that was paying me $1,500 a month have a problem. Never.
So is there an opportunity where you could still improve the property and still have decent tenants without having a three-family property?
I can't increase it. It comes down to dollars, you know, yeah, if you can't improve the property, you don't get the rents. If you don't get the rents, you know, if you don't rent it to where you can get the rents, you don't have good tenants.
So the only way you can make improvements is if you make this a three-family property?
Well, I can't cover all the costs on a new family.
Okay. All right, any other board members have
You know,
questions?
I have to, I pay the water, I pay the sewer myself for all these properties. I'm not gonna put gas on it. It's gonna be all electric. It'll be energy efficient. People will stay.
Okay. All right, any other board members have questions?
Just
Oh,
one to Ms.
go ahead.
To Ms. Washington. So we do have this evidence here of these 6 other three-family homes that are properly, you know, permitted and operating legally. And then we would be adding a 7th potentially if these variances are granted today. Can you speak to the neighborhood character with respect to having this many three-family homes on this street? Do you have any knowledge of that?
With the additional knowledge that's new for me with this being the 7th, I would change my support to not support because it's going to impact the residents. You can't, again, all of these are unknowns for all of us. You can't assume that because you have 3 units, a tenant is going to have 1 car. It could possibly be 2 for each. So now that's 6 cars with an issue of how are we parking in the driveway? Who's letting me out in the morning? Who's letting me out at night? There's, again, a lot of unknowns, but I would like to change. I came in to support because, again, there is a need for more housing in the community. There's people in the Northeast neighborhood that has stated that. But for this particular house, this particular street, there is a big issue and the councilman doesn't support it. So.
Okay, thank you for that.
Any
I'm
other,
done, Madam Chair.
okay, any other board members have questions?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to be clear on a few things. I want to make sure that the residents are clear that the variance applies to this one house and not the whole neighborhood. So I wanted to be clear on that. The other thing I wanted to be clear on is that street parking is public parking. So people are allowed to park on the street. I realize they're running into a situation with a shortage of parking. And I also want to be sure that we're not penalizing Mr. Jones for the what appears to be legal triples that have had variances. I'm not sure that we have variances on all of those. We haven't seen evidence of those having variances, so we don't know that they're legal. And it also sounds like there are illegal triples operating on the street. And that is a separate issue entirely. So, and I believe Mr. Jones is not an out-of-state landlord. He is within the greater Cleveland area. So while he is not residing in the building itself, he is would be considered local. So those are my comments.
And thank you for that, Ms. Faith, because I was thinking the same thing as I'm listening to the comments. I also want to make sure that this board is not holding Mr. Jones accountable for the entire street that may have, changed their properties into three families. But I think at the same time, this board also has to consider whether this variance request is going to negatively or adversely impact the rights of adjacent owners. And whether you have good tenants or bad, you still may face issues of crowding. And that is the concern that I am hearing from the neighbors. And I think on top of that, we've also heard concerns of, there not being proper ingress and egress for that third unit. Usually when these types of projects come before us, maybe the project is not zoned properly, but at least the house is outfitted for, three families. And I just don't know if that is what we have here. So that is my concern as far as this goes. Now, in addition to that, we've also heard that, this applicant understood that this was a two-family when it was purchased. And then later, down the stream, we're changing course here. And I think given the history of, what we have on this street, we have to, as a board, address, if we grant this variance, where does that leave this street in terms of, how the zoning intended it to be? So that's kind of my hang up here. And you've heard comments from, two board members. Do you have any comments that you would want to provide to address what has been said?
Well, I talked to the city building inspector about this ingress.
You've got
egress
to
thing.
put your voice up so the court reporter can hear you.
I talked to the building inspectors about the ingress for the building.
Mhm.
They told me that I didn't need any ingress except for the window. If he would have told me I had to have a stairwell, I could put one in. It's not a problem. It'd be on the back side of the building. It would never even show up. Okay. But when I would talk to him about it, he told me, don't, just make sure I had ingress from the window itself.
Okay.
That was his take on
Okay.
it.
Well, we're not here to decide the building code issues. That'll, certainly be up to him to grant or deny that. But I appreciate you clarifying that point. Do you have any other comments?
Amen.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Madam Chair, just to the ingress and egress issue, he does have the stairwell that serves as both, and the front window, as he testified, is large enough to be an egress window. And as we know from other cases that we've had with buildings similar to this, it'll be reviewed by fire. Very likely will be required to have an emergency escape ladder added to the situation. So I think he will be able to fulfill what will be necessary for ingress and egress, given the stairwell and the window situation. I just wanted to add that to the conversation.
All right. Thank you for that. And any other questions or comments from the board? All right, hear none, I'll entertain a motion, please.
Madam Chair, given the testimony we've heard today, the appellant is fulfilling the variances requested. There is parking for all units as stated necessary. Just of note, there to the appellant, and I'll add it as a condition. There is no parking allowed in the driveway, no parking within 10 feet of any opening of the building. There is no parking allowed in the front setback. And obviously that includes parking on the sidewalk or the lawn. With that said, I move approval of calendar number 26, 100.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Board Member Holzer, I second.
All right, can we call the vote?
Sure. Ms. Roca?
No.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
No.
There is a tied vote. The motion fails. The variance is denied. This decision will be ratified on September 14th, and we will send the appellant a letter.
Okay, that concludes the matter for today. Thank you all for coming down. Good luck with your project. And that concludes our cases for today. Do we have one more? Look at me about to skip over. I was eager to get to the end. Darn. All right, thank you all so much for being down. Do we have anyone present for this matter? Jeffrey Gill, are you present online?
No, I believe it's just myself, Randy Grays.
Okay, all right, perfect. Long as we have someone here that works for us, I'll go ahead and have Ms. Holzer read in the case, please.
The final case is calendar number 26-102. This is at 12113 Chesterfield Avenue. Jeffrey Gill, owner, and the Legacy Haven Pathways propose to change use from an existing two-family dwelling to a 5-person recovery residence within a two-family dwelling located on a parcel zoned two-family residential. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. And with that, I will hand it to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, state your name, spell your name, and give your address. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. My name is Randy Grays, RandyGrays. My address is 24800 Russell Avenue, Euclid, Ohio, 44123.
And do you swear?
I swear.
Okay, thank you. And is there anyone else who wishes to speak in this matter on the call? Being no one, I'm going to turn to you. Go ahead.
Ariel Washington, Ariel Washington, neighborhood planner, 601 Lakeside Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44144.
Thank you, Ms.
I do.
Washington. And I'm not seeing anyone else, Madam Chair, so back to you.
All right, thank you for that. We'll go to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. I should also note that this is a structure that has 2 units in it, known as 12113 Chesterfield and 12115 Chesterfield. In our Records Administration Office for the address of 12113, we found that in 1962, permits were issued to repair fire damage, correct violations to a single family. 1964, permit was issued to rebuild a frame door to a single family, and repair porches and steps and windows. For the 12115 address, we only found that in 1918, a permit was issued to erect a 2-story dwelling. And then there are no variances on file for these addresses. And then in the more recent history, we only found information for the 12113 Chesterfield in our Acela system. We noted that in 2016, permit was issued to board up, there was a violation to condemn the property in order to board up. We see that there were subsequent permits issued to board up windows and doors in 2017 and also in 2018. But then in 2019, we see that there were permits for HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and general overall permits to improve the maintenance of the property. 2021, there was a permit issued to rehab and correct condemnation. 2023, lead safe certificate was applied for. It is shown as inactive date as 2024. Rental registration was issued in 2023. Lead safe certificate applied for, and the status is inactive as well. Rental registration in 2024 and 2026 was issued. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, can we have legal, please?
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance from the requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you for that. I will now turn to you, Randy Grays. Do you want to give us details about your request?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak. Again, my name is Randy Grays. I'm the Director of Operations for Legacy Haven Pathways. We're asking the board to approve our appeal so we can provide safe, stable, and structured home for the individuals that we serve. This will be a structured living environment. We will have clear rules, expectations in place for our residents, including a curfew, established visiting hours, a drug-free environment, and other rules designed to maintain a safe and respectful home. We are hands-on, our ownership. There will be 4 owners in total of our business. We will maintain the property, and our goal is to just be a positive part of the neighborhood while giving our residents a safe place where they can kind of start changing their life and be successful. We're also grateful to receive support from members of the community, as well as Councilman Kevin Conwell. So we're just simply asking for the opportunity to provide a safe, structured, supportive home where people can thrive. Thank you for your consideration.
All right, can you give us a little bit more details about your operation? How many people will you serve? Are you doing this in both of the units that are in this home? What are the hours of operation? What's your staffing plan? I know that's a lot, but please provide a little bit more details.
Yes. So our staffing plan is similar to, we also run an agency that we serve developmental disability community, and we staff those houses 24/7. So we plan to have that similar. We're going to be similar to how we run that program in this program as well. What else? What other questions did you have? The hours of operation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the hours, like I said, it's 24/7. We do expect our tenants to gain employment, and we do expect them to attend meetings, and that's weekly. And this is something that's going to be mandatory for them to reside in our property. So the hours of operation will depend on which which residents gain employment and what hours they are employed. So someone will be at the house always with these tenants. So they will have definitely have supervision while staying at our house.
Okay, and how do you, what's your security plan?
Well, we do have cameras set up in all of the areas of the home besides the restrooms and the bathrooms. The restrooms and the bedrooms. So all of like the main areas, like the hallways and things of that nature, and that way we can keep an eye on the property as well as outside as well. So, and then we also have visiting hours. So, and visitors have to be approved by staff before they are allowed. So it's definitely a structured living arrangement, and our tenants will be notified that the living arrangement is structured. And we want the structure because we want our residents to basically have a safe place where they can kind of start rebuilding their life. A lot of our residents are going to be coming to us with mental illness, and they're going to be coming to us with drug and alcohol addictions. So we definitely just want a place for them to kind of be able to get their life back on track. So we're going to be offering job assistance. We're going to be offering life assistance, transportation, to and from appointments, things of that nature. Anything to help them improve their life where they can move out into the community on their own.
All right, thank you for that. Ms. Washington, I'll give you the floor.
Okay, good morning. Generally, I do not support these type of establishments. Group home residential facilities defined differently, but basically one and the same. This area is oversaturated, but I did get a call and receive support from the councilman. He is confident about this group, so I'm just here today just to remind everyone that this area is heavily saturated with. We're speaking of how neighborhoods change. This is one that basically has already changed. So that's all.
Do we have saturation maps for this?
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I could clarify a little bit.
Please.
Again, this is Xavier Bay standing in for our zoning administrator. So the proposal that you're seeing today isn't actually categorized as a state licensed residential care facility per that definition of the zoning code. The proposal here actually falls in line more with the Ohio Revised Code's definition for recovery housing. And so our zoning code actually clumps these uses more in line with uses that are first permissible in general retail business districts. And so that's why you don't see the saturation map. And that's why this is only a use variance.
Madam Chair, I just have a question for Mr.
Hold on a second, because that kind of went over my head.
Yeah, doesn't it, so in our variance write-up, it says residential facilities are required to be located at least 1,000 feet from another residential facility. There are three, is this?
Madam Chair, there was a one updated and it was shown in your SharePoint folder. I'm sorry, you might have an older one.
Oh. So this does not, I haven't.
That's been corrected.
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize.
And we did notify the neighbors. The neighbors have been given the updated, so communications must have crossed somewhere. But I did double check. You have the updated one in the SharePoint. I apologize.
Yes, and you're correct. We do. And just so that the record is clear, the updated agenda does show that this is a 5-person recovery residence. And it's governed by 340A3, characterized as recovery housing. It still begs the question of saturation. Is that still something for the board to consider, given this is recovery housing as opposed to a residential facility? It almost seems they're kind of in the same vein. Mr. Bay, can you opine there?
Yes, this is Xavier Bay again. The difference here is that so with the residential care facilities, those are required to get state licensing from the Ohio Developmental Disabilities Board and/or AMAS. And those facilities are primarily defined in our zoning code. Give me one moment. Let me actually pull that up for you. So this is defined in our zoning code with chapter 325.571. And these are, I'll just read straight from the code here. Residential facility means a public or privately operated home or facility licensed pursuant to state law that provides accommodation, supervision, and personal care services to any of the following. Then it lists the populations, 1 or 2 unrelated persons with mental illnesses. B, 1 or 2 unrelated adults who are receiving residential state supplement payments as defined in the Ohio Revised Code. And so that differs a bit from what the proposal we have here in front of us today. From our understanding, it's a more structured living environment, really pertaining to a drug-free environment for the habitants. So it's not specifically for those who have mental illnesses. The main goal of this proposal here, the main goal of the operations is to assist in like rehab services for those who may be going through those kinds of drug addictions and things of that nature, and that's why we're listing this under the umbrella of recovery housing, which actually is further defined in the Ohio Revised Code. And so does it help a little bit?
Yes, that's absolutely very helpful. But it does make me have another question.
Mhm.
Does the zoning code allow recovery housing without consideration of saturation?
That's right. This is again Xavier Bay. That's correct. Our zoning ordinances don't specify separation requirements for these uses. It's first generally permissible in the general retail business districts.
Okay.
If this were a residential state licensed facility, which it's not, then you would take into consideration those 1,000-foot buffers of existing facilities. Or if this was something like a halfway home where the population is sent specifically as a continuation of a sentence from some sort of court system, that also would require some different types of spacing standards. This one primarily in front of you is a use case.
Okay, so then there's no concern then, I guess, about, an institutional use, right? If that's normally our concern when we're talking about residential facilities, is that not the concern here?
That's correct. So I guess the main thing I could state there is it's first allowed in a general retail district as opposed to an institutional research district. And so general retail districts' purpose and intent is more so of your kind of larger commercial uses, also mixed residential uses, things of that nature.
Super helpful. Any other questions from the board?
I'm still struggling with this a bit, Xavier, because we still have to consider the purpose and intent of the zoning code for this type of facility, which is different than what we're normally looking at. And then we also have to consider under Duncan, the neighborhood character and whether the essential neighborhood character would change or neighbors would suffer a substantial detriment with respect to the addition of this facility. So I guess my question to you is, what is the purpose and intent of the zoning code as it relates to this particular type of facility?
Yeah, this is Xavier Bay again. So specifically to this facility, I guess I'll lean more on the purpose and intent of the general retail business zoning district, as I already did. Mainly these premises are more so in line for consumer operations, service operations, to really space out more intense industrial uses. Is the primary kind of intention of the general retail business district. I guess I'll lean a little bit into the use that's being proposed here. Isn't necessarily proposing commercial sales. It's more of a service that's being provided to these inhabitants. And again, the service-related uses on the lighter intensity are first allowed in local retail business districts. More heavy intensity, I'll mention specifically like amounts of occupants being served or things of that nature would then align you more into the general retail business district. I believe that's the most I have to say right now.
Okay, that helps. Thank you. All right, Madam Chair.
Any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, to the appellant, I am curious to know how many residents you will be having occupying the house at one time.
Up to 5. So no more than 5 residents are going to be allowed in the home.
And are these all one specific gender?
Yes, we tend to realize that having the same gender in the home operates the home much better. When you kind of mix genders, that's when things start going on in the home that you just don't want, and you just want to make sure everyone is able to focus on their recovery and basically being able to move out on their own instead of having.
Hey, excuse me for interrupting.
Mhm.
Do you anticipate this is going to be male or female?
We anticipate this to be male.
And what age do you anticipate these residents to be?
It's all adults, so no adolescents. As far as the age group, it can range anywhere from I would say mid-30s to in their 60s.
Okay. And I think, just to reiterate, I believe you said you expect them to all be employed, so they'll be working adults. Will they have their own transportation, or will they be using public transport? Or are you going to be transporting to their jobs, or how's that going to work?
We will assist them with using public transportation. In the event they have to go somewhere where public transportation is not an option, they can contact our staff and we will set up transportation for them.
Okay. And again, I believe you said you're going to have staff on site 24/7, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's going to be a house manager there that's going to be on staff on site.
All right.
Madam Chair, I have a few more questions when Ms. Faith is done as well.
I'm done. I just, I realized this doesn't qualify to fall into the category to have a concentration map, a saturation map, but I think it would have been helpful to get just a general sense of how many are in the area. That concludes my comments.
All right, thank you for that, Ms. Faith. Ms. Roca, you have the floor.
Just a couple more questions, Mr. Grays. In your submittal to the board, you had a petition. Can you speak to us about that petition and any community engagement that you performed?
Yes, so we did go in the neighborhood and we explained to the residents in the neighborhood exactly what we would be doing with this home, and we did get feedback from the residents, and we answered any questions or concerns that they had, and they did in fact sign off on basically giving us the green light to go ahead and move forward. So we are very in tune with the residents in the neighborhood, and they know that we're going to be hands-on with this. So it's not something that we're just going to open and kind of let it run itself. We're definitely going to be hands-on. Like I said, there's 4 members in ownership, and we're all going to be hands-on with this project.
Okay, thank you. And then my final question for you is related to the legal standard. So if your variances are not granted today, what hardship will you face?
Well, we have been paying rent at this home, and we did make improvements already. And we did fully furnish the home. So I guess we would just lose out on all of the money spent. And then also, we did sign a 1-year lease with the owner of the home, and we would have to carry out that lease for the remainder of the time. So yeah, it would be a lot of money that would go down if this were not approved.
All right, any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I do have a question. Looking at the site plan, I see 6 beds. And so to the appellant, just to clarify, you noted that there would be room for 5 residents. And so I just want to clarify if all 6 beds are for residents of the home, or it sounds like you're going to have someone on site from a management perspective. So just trying to clarify the number of residents you will have.
Yeah, so it'll be 5 residents in total, but the house manager would be included in those 5.
So there will be 5 people living on site total, but I'm
Correct.
seeing 6 beds on your site plan. So just trying to clarify.
Yeah, so We actually changed that. So yeah, we did change that after speaking with forget his name. Let me see. We actually were in communication with Nicholas Tarpey, and we did in fact send him an email that we were going to switch that 6 bed to a 5 bed.
Thank you.
All right, any correspondence?
Oh, yes, Madam Chair, I do have a letter from the councilman, Councilman Conwell, writing to express full support for the application. Legacy Haven Pathways is committed to providing safe, stable, and supportive housing for individuals in need. The facility's mission to serve vulnerable residents by offering quality housing and a supportive living environment aligns with the values of our community and the ongoing efforts to improve the quality of life for Ward 9 residents. I commend Jeffrey Gill, owner of the property, and Dishel Gray for their dedication to creating a safe and welcoming home for individuals seeking housing and stability. Their commitment to providing compassionate care and supportive services will be a valuable asset to our neighborhood. For these reasons, I respectfully ask that you give favorable consideration to the permit application submitted by Dishel Gray. And if we have any questions, we can contact him, Kevin Conwell, Ward 9. And we do, for the record, have that petition that you mentioned with 25 signatures, and the majority of them, it seems 100% are on Chesterfield. So then, Madam Chair, I'm not sure if I heard the applicant state, from the photo, you can see that this is a side-by-side house. It's got 2 units. Did we hear how many tenants are in the other unit? Is the other one just typical rental, or is it also? Although we're not aware of it being a group home, but could the appellant tell us whether or not what type of rental is in that other unit?
Yes, I believe there's one person in that unit, and it's just a typical rental, and she's aware of this as well.
Then, Madam Chair, I'm just not sure I'm hearing what is making this a recovery house as opposed to a group home. It sounds very similar to a group home. I don't know if the zoning team could expand on that. But we're not seeing any programming necessarily that sounds any different. Or maybe I missed it. I'm sorry. If we could expand on that.
So yes, we were very confused as well, and I think Mr. Bay sort of helped us to understand that this appears to be more about sober living as opposed to it being a state licensed and, controlled facility in that way. But Mr. Bay, please, if you need to add to that, please do.
This is Xavier Bay again. Specifically, it's the operator, their licensing, and the operations on site. And so specifically, they're not getting that same licensing that the traditional residential care facility operations do. And then the services are specifically geared towards recovery housing under the umbrella of the Ohio Revised Code, citing Section 340A3, which means housing for individuals recovering from alcoholism or drug addiction that provides an alcohol, drug-free living environment, peer support assistance with obtaining alcohol and drug addiction services, and other alcoholism and drug addiction recovery assistance.
That answer your question?
Sure, Madam Chair. I don't have any copies of any sort of licensing in there in the file from the applicant. I wonder if we could ask for, does he have any sort of licensing that he could provide for us with our records?
Mr. Graves, what's your response to that? Do you have any licensing that you could provide related to this project?
No, there is no licensing at this moment.
Okay. Any other questions, Madam Secretary?
Thank you.
Will there be licensing in the future, or?
No, we do not plan on gaining any licensing.
Okay.
Seems like by virtue of it being a recovery house that it's not needed.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Hearing no questions, I'll entertain a motion, please.
Oh, Space not big one.
We need a motion. Ms. Hoser, you want to take it?
Madam Chair, I'll take it if no one
Thank you
else
so much. Thank you, Ms. Faith.
jumping to given the clarification from Mr. Bay with regard to the difference between this facility and group homes that we often see, and testimony from the appellant, in support of the council person, I move approval of calendar number 26-102.
All right, thank you for that, Ms. Faith. Do we have a second?
Board Member Roca, I second.
Thank you, Ms. Roca. Can we call the vote, please?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. I did mean to add to that a condition following up on Ms. Holzer's question for a revised plan so we can see that there's really only going to be 5 beds instead of 6 in there.
Okay.
Excuse me.
All right. And Mr. Graves, just so that you understand, you will have to submit an updated plan that reflects the correct number of beds. Is that understood?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Ms. Roca, does that condition change your second?
It does not.
All right, so we've got a motion, we've got a second. Can we call the vote, please?
Ms. Holzer? Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Calendar number 26-102 is granted. This will be ratified on September 14th. Well, once we receive that revised drawing, noting that that additional bed will be removed. Once we receive it, we would ratify it that following Monday, and we would send the appellant a letter.
Okay, that concludes this matter. That concludes all of our matters for real this time. So now we'll move to old business. It looks like we have 2 calendar numbers that are up for ratification. Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, both of those will be ratified without objection. It is now 11:36. That concludes our business. We are adjourned. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank
Enjoy your
you.
holiday, everyone.
You too, Ms. Faye.
You too. See you on September 14th.
Ms. Roca, I missed the announcement, so I'm curious to know how long you're going to be with us still.
September 14th hearing will be my last.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Yes,
sad to
very,
see you go.
very sad about it. I
Yes,
will
same.
miss spending my Mondays with you all.
Likewise, we'll miss having you here, Ms. Roca.
Oh, man.